This series of stretches and shapes is the very best way to start your day. You'll leave your mat feeling stronger, longer, and more grounded. Start in any seated position that feels comfortable in your body, whether that's cross-legged or arms straight out in front of you. Let your hands fall on your thighs. Softly close your eyes if it feels good. And just start to tune into your breath before starting to change it, maybe taking 1 or 2. And then start to deepen. See if you can count your inhales. I like to do at least a count of 4 on an inhale, maybe a little hold, and then at least a count of 4 on an exhale. Sometimes I'll do a 4 count, a 5 count, and then a 6 count before moving on. When you feel ready, flicker your eyes open and let your chin come down to your chest, and then just softly, like you're making a half circle, rolling side to side, ear to shoulder. The next time that your right ear is to your shoulder, maybe pause there for a moment, bringing your hand up to add some pressure to the opposite ear if that feels good. And then switching to the opposite side, being mindful of where you feel the stretch in your body, whether that means your head is directly to the side or whether your chin is a little bit closer to your chest when you do so. On an inhale, coming straight back up through to center to a neutral spine, and start to find a cow back and a cat back from a seated position. Inhales as you press your chest forward, and then exhales as you round like you just got punched in the stomach. A couple of times moving here with your breath. Inhales to travel forward and exhales to take you back. Then we'll come back through to a center neutral spine. Inhale, reach your fingertips all the way up overhead. Reach, 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 and then bring your right hand down, left arm up and over, creating some space like you could separate each rib just a little bit. And then inhale, stretch back up through to center, opposite side, side body stretch. Maybe taking your gaze up through that bicep if that feels all right. Inhale to travel back up, gaze to the fingertips, and then as you exhale, we'll come forward, starting to find our tabletop position. Squaring off your wrists just right underneath the shoulders, the knees right underneath your hips. Take a moment to close your eyes and just tap back into how your body feels. And just start to move. Maybe that's a cat-cow, maybe that's a barrel roll with your rib cage, maybe that's a wag of your tail. Don't worry about what it looks like. If it looks silly, as long as it feels good, that is all that we care about. And then we'll come back through to a neutral spine. Exhale to take your hips back, and inhale to let the hips travel forward. Do that a couple of times here, maybe even creating a little bit of heat in your body. If it feels good, you can start to take the breath in through the nose and out through the nose, letting those hips fall as you come forward, letting the shoulders roll back, and then letting it come back to a neutral spine. Bring all 10 fingertips to face in towards each other, and then just rock softly here side to side, opening up the wrists. If at any point this intense of an angle does not feel good, then you can just change it. That is totally okay. We'll come back through to center and then bring all 10 fingertips to face back forward, and then extend that left leg out long, and then you're going to swing it around to the side. So you're making it perpendicular, 90-degree angle to your body, sole of the foot coming down, and then go back to that same motion that you were finding with the exhales to bring your hips back and inhales to travel forward. You probably won't go as far forward as you did when you had both knees bent, but just getting that stretch all the way through the inside of the leg, through the thigh. Take a pause here the next time that your hips are all the way back. And then inhale to come all the way back forward. Extend that left leg out long back behind you again as you inhale. And this time as you exhale, cross the body. Bring it to the outer right corner edge of the mat and take your gaze over the right shoulder towards that heel. We're opening up the side bodies again here. Inhale to come back through to center, and exhale to release back down to that tabletop position. I'm going to turn myself around just for space reasons and go on to the right side. Inhale to bring that leg out back behind me, and then exhale to bring it to the side. Start to find that motion, hips traveling back and then hips traveling forward. Moving with your breath just a couple of times, maybe 3 or 4. And let those hips travel back and pause there for a moment. You can round as much as you like through the upper back. Don't hold any tension in the neck. Just let your head hang heavy. And then inhale, come right back through to center. Extend that right leg out long back behind you, and then cross the body in the opposite direction. Take your gaze over your shoulder towards that heel. And then inhale, release back through to center, and then exhale right back to your tabletop. We're going to leave our knees exactly as they are, right underneath the hips, and then just start to walk your arms out long. This is a puppy pose. It's one of my absolute favorite ones. You sort of feel like your body is a hammock, not necessarily sitting in a hammock, but you're finding that stretch of your chest reaching down towards the mat, towards the earth. Maybe your chin finds contact, maybe the bridge of the nose or the forehead does. And if it doesn't, don't be too hard on yourself. On your next inhale, we'll come back up to a tabletop position, and then exhale, start to rock back, plant the soles of the feet at the back of the mat, and find yourself in a standing forward bend. Ragdoll your arms, finding opposite elbows, and just softly sway here right and left. Maybe shaking your head around, maybe finding a little bit of an up and down if that feels nice in your body. Softness in the knees, totally good here. And then we'll come back through to center, planting our right hand just right underneath the face, and then opening up left arm to the left. You might soften into the right knee here to get into this twist. And then exhale, release, and switch. Left hand down, right arm up, maybe that left knee softens. And then all the way back down, both fingertips plant. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen out, flat back. Stretch your tailbone towards the back wall. Exhale, release. One more time. Inhale, lift and lengthen, flat back. And then exhale, release. Start to walk your hands nice and gently all the way back out, and release your knees back down to that tabletop position. Right leg comes out back behind you, lengthen it out, and then step it forward through between the hands. Bring both hands to the top of the thigh here in a low lunge, and then let those hips melt a little bit further forward. Then moving with your breath, inhales to let your hips melt back, and then exhales to let them melt forward, only going as far forward as the stretch feels good. Next time that you are forward, let your hands float all the way up towards the ceiling. Maybe the gaze follows. And then exhale, release. Hands come down, framing that foot, and then crawl those right toes forward, 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 till you can't lengthen that leg anymore, and then bow in. This is a half split. You can deepen it by moving that left knee a little further back. You can lengthen that right leg out even more forward, or you can bring blocks underneath your hands. Bring those hands to the inside of that right leg, and then heel toe it out to the outside edge of the mat. We are in a lizard lunge here. This should feel super nice on those hip flexors, on the tops of the thigh, as well as on the hip. Again, if you need more length, blocks underneath the hands are always a really nice idea. If for any reason you would like this to be more intense of a shape, you can always tuck those left toes under and lift that knee. We'll lengthen that right leg all the way back out long behind us on an inhale, and on an exhale, return to the tabletop, and we'll start to switch sides. Left leg out long, Exhale to step it forward through between the hands. Bring your fingertips to the top of the thigh. Exhale to let those hips melt forward, and inhale to bring them back. Start to float your arms all the way up on your next inhale. You're deepen into that bend. And then exhale, release. Hands come down, framing that foot, and those left toes crawl forward, forward, forward until they feel like they can't crawl forward anymore. And then exhale, hinge, lengthening through the leg without locking out the knee, and then bowing your chest towards the left thigh. You can always pad the knee that is down on the mat by doubling it up or bringing a blanket underneath if you have sensitive knees. I also do. That is completely an okay option, not a cheat, I promise. We'll start to lengthen and bring those hands to the inside of that left leg, heel toe it out. Maybe it comes off the mat. Maybe lengthen that right leg out back behind you. In this shape, as in any of the shapes, you'll see I'm kind of moving around here. And if that feels better in your body than stillness, I say completely go for it. Sometimes I like to open my knee a little bit wider, making sure that it's tracking with the second or third toe, or sometimes even pressing my palm against the thigh to press it away and get a little bit more into the stretch. And then inhale, lengthen that left leg out back long behind you, and exhale, release right back to that tabletop position. Spread the fingertips, tuck the toes, and lift the hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Take a couple of moments to settle into this space, to make sure you're not holding any tension in the neck, to feel some length through both the upper body and the lower body. Softness in the knees is cool. I have an entire video breaking down the down dog if you need or want that as a reference point. Remaining in that nice steady breath, maybe in through the nose and out through the nose. Start to rise high on the balls of the feet, and as you exhale, let both heels come towards the left. Inhale to center, both heels come towards the right. Inhale back through to center here. And then start to take tiny, tiny steps, walking those feet all the way up towards your hands. Maybe about 8 little steps until you get there. Halfway lift, lengthen out, flat back. Exhale, fold. Again, inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, release. Plant your hands, fingertips spread wide. Start to step back to a high plank position. Kind of like a baby cat back. Low belly stays engaged. Making sure those elbow pits are just shining straight towards each other. Inhale to rock your weight forward. Exhale to lower softly all the way down to the mat. Leave the palms right where they are. Baby Cobra. Lengthen out, and then exhale to fold. Again, inhale, lift, maybe even coming a tiny bit higher than you did last time. Exhale, fold like a wave rippling down. One more time. Those arms might come to more of a lengthened shape. Maybe they don't. That is totally okay. And then inhale, rock yourself up and back. Child's pose. Rock your forehead, rock your hips, walk those fingertips forward as you start to create and find more space in your body. Couple of deep breaths here. Feel your belly against your thighs. On your next inhale, lift your forehead just enough so that you can walk that right arm underneath the left. Getting an outer shoulder stretch here, resting the right cheek or the right temple. just for a breath, and then inhale, lengthen that right arm back out and thread that left arm through. So it's a thread the needle in the upper body, but we're remaining in that child's pose in the low body. If that doesn't feel good, you can bring your hips so that they're just right above your knees, sort of from a tabletop as you go in. And then we'll inhale, rock back forward, and then just kind of slither down onto the mat, belly all the way down. Bring that right forearm parallel to the mat in front of you. Kick that left heel towards your seat and then reach back and find the top of your foot here for a nice little quad stretch. The heel doesn't have to be straight in towards your glute. It can come further to the side of your body, whatever feels better anatomically. And then exhale, release, and switch. Bring that left forearm down and then reach that right hand back, catching the top of the foot here. You can press down into the forearm to lift up a little bit in the upper body if that feels good in the stretch. And if that feels too intense, then you can definitely just take that part out. And then softly release back down, stack your palms, crocodile pose, let the feet be at the edges of the mat and just wiggle your hips here. Feel that sacrum just kind of moving around in your body. Let those hips release. And then on your next inhale, with as little effort as you can, we're going to flip over onto our back, centered on the mat. Bring the soles of your feet together, Supta Baddha Konasana shape. Bring your right hand to your belly, your left hand to your chest, somewhere you can feel your heartbeat. Take a couple more of those big, slow breaths. Feeling your belly underneath your fingertips. Let it rise, let it get big here. Take a pause when you feel full, and then exhale to release and feel your belly retract away from your fingertips. You can stay in this shape for as long as you like, eyes softly closed, until you are ready to move on with your day. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you learned something. Please remember to like and subscribe.